Okay, let's start again back out here in the field with the beautiful plants at the Monrovia, California location. I want to talk to you a little bit about ready dates and how we plan to make sure we have the plants ready for you when you actually need them. This is a very complicated process, and you can imagine takes years sometimes depending on the plant to plan. We call this process the router, or you may want to look at it as a recipe. When does the propagation team come out and actually take cuttings off of a plant? When does that cutting then end up in propagation, and how long does it take for it to, if you want to call them babies, get ready for their next step up, whether it's going to be in a 1 gallon, 2 gallon, or 5 gallon, and then when does that actually end out here in the larger size for the final stages of its growing time. We're looking at this plant here, Boxwood Green Mountain, and this particular one we have trained up to become one of our cone sizes. And I picked this plant in particular because of the time that it takes to grow one of these plants. So I'll span over here and I'll show you that each of these beds or lots that we call them have got this white label in it. And this white label gives information that the inventory teams can use, the growers can use, and also gives you information about when the plant is projected to be ready. So these cones here were started on August 22nd, 2015. So that's 5 years ago that we started these plants, if you can imagine that. That's how long it takes to train these up and get them up to size. And this is the final year, this spring, when we are projecting to ship these. These are still actually a little small. They'll put a flush of growth and we'll give them a little more of a haircut through the next few months, and then they'll be ready to sell. On here it says April 1st. It's always controversial on those ready dates. I know when you look at the ready date and you may see a plant that's dated for April 1st, and then we may change the date on you, and it's like, well, what's going on? You said these plants are gonna be ready on April 1st. Well, keep in mind that we run into the same situation and issues that you do, even though in California here where the weather is fairly predictable and we really don't rely on rain because pretty much the rain comes out of the ground, that there can be those things that do change, and because of that, it causes us to have to change that ready date. So for example, on a plant with an April 1st ready date, if we can thread the needle and have that plant ready sometimes at least maybe 7 days late after that April 1st, in my book would be a success, or possibly having them ready even a week or so earlier is even better. And it all depends on sometimes the climate, the plant. Most of the plants we grow, we've been growing for many, many years, and you can predict almost down to the day when that plant will be ready. But others sometimes not so much, especially on new varieties that we're maybe not used to growing. Our growers aren't confident quite yet to say how long a plant may take. There may be other issues that need to be done too, like pruning and other things that happen on a plant that might delay a ready date. So little information there on that part. I think the other thing to think about when you talk to your customers and they ask, why is a plant so expensive? It's I always kind of like the idea of thinking that a plant usually takes, at least for us on average, most of our plants take anywhere from maybe a year and a half to 2 years to grow. For these examples here on the boxwood, 5 years or so. When you look in life, there's not many things that take that long to produce. You can build a car within a few days on an assembly line. A house anymore probably could be built in 6 months or so. All the other things in life really do not take much time to produce. But when you look at plants, longer investment definitely makes it much more valuable on your end when someone questions or asks about the price. So thanks, that's it from here.